Last time on Team Badman.
So starting tomorrow, keep an eye out here on the channel for episode reviews.
This time.
So I had this ready to go yesterday, but it turns out when I scheduled it, I accidentally scheduled it for Tuesday instead of Monday. Guess we're doing these on Tuesdays now, huh? What is up, Bad Brood? Eric here with Team Badman, and God, it feels weird to say that. Like seriously, it's been 3 years since I made a video for this channel. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get used to saying that, but it's what we got, so we're gonna go with it. But I'm here bringing you your nostalgia fix. As I mentioned in yesterday's update video, which by the way, if you haven't seen that yet, you can check that out right over here. I mentioned that I've been wanting to bring content back to this channel for a while now. And since it's been 25 years since the final episode of Dragon Ball Z aired for the first time, I figure now's as good a time as ever to check out the Dragon Ball series again and see just how well it has held up over time, especially in light of some fantastic anime coming out in the past few years. So I'm going to be watching through the entire Dragon Ball series from the very beginning to the very end, and I'm going to review the episodes, give my thoughts on the matter, and see just how well the series has held up over time. Now, I'm going to be reviewing this series through the lens of someone who's already familiar with the Dragon Ball universe. So I'm going to mention characters by their names, whether or not they have already been formally introduced in the series. I'm going to be referencing events that may be happening shortly in the future, or that may pertain to later series, ultimately depending on how relevant they are. But this is not necessarily a review for the newbie to the Dragon Ball universe. If you want to watch it along with and get familiar with the Dragon Ball universe, then that would be awesome, and I would love to have you along with. But do realize that there are going to be some expectations and likely some spoilers along with that are going to come with these reviews. So be sure to take these with that in mind. But every journey has to start somewhere, and now that I've got my coffee in hand, I can finally start our journey of watching through the entire Dragon Ball series, starting with the very first episode of Dragon Ball, The Secret of the Dragon Balls. Now, for anyone who's interested in watching this along with me, I am watching it on the Funimation website, which does mean it's the Funimation dub. So it's not the original voice actors. In fact, it's a lot of the voice actors who also voiced in Z and basically everything since then. So there's not quite a purist aspect to it, but Funimation did at least bring back some of the material that was originally censored in the English dub, so, you know. So the episode opens with a cinematic crawl on Mount Paozu, and it's essentially telling the backstory of how a martial artist named Gohan wound up finding a baby up on the mountain in the forest. They don't exactly tell where, but it's somewhere. And this man finds this baby and takes it in and raises it as his own grandson. This boy is given the name Goku, and he is trained in martial arts by Grandpa Gohan, who realizes over time that this is a very, very strong boy. And this is shown immediately out the gate in the episode, where Goku is performing his martial arts poses. You know, he's making it very, very clear that he does, in fact, do the martial arts. And then he promptly picks up a part of a tree stump, chucks it into the air, leaps a good 30 feet into the air, and in a single kick manages to cut the stump into an entire set of beautifully cut firewood logs that all manage to land just into a perfect, nice, neat little pile. Suspension of disbelief. It's a powerful thing. On top of that, it's also explained that Goku guards an heirloom that his grandfather left for him called a Dragon Ball. Now, we already know what the Dragon Balls are, but at this point, it's only explained that Goku has this one, so it's presumed that maybe just this one is very valuable, or that it holds some kind of power, but Goku guards it no matter what. After he is done cutting up his firewood with his feet, because that's exactly how we all cut firewood, Goku goes back into his hut to find the Dragon Ball glowing. This, of course, leads Goku to believe that his grandfather's trying to communicate with him. Because if any inanimate object is glowing, it's probably the dead trying to reach out to you.
Aunt Norma? Aunt Norma, is that you?
However, Goku decides to pay it no more mind, and he goes off to get some food. Because Goku's got his priorities straight. However, before getting some food, he decides he's hungry, and he is going to go get a snack. You got your meal? Before your meal? Yeah, Goku's really got his priorities straight. So Goku makes his way to an apple tree, and he proceeds to eat the apple while hanging off a branch by his tail. In which this is the first time the series really brings attention to the fact that, yeah, Goku has an ape tail. Not normally something human beings have, so, yeah, it's a little bit different, to be sure. Goku finishes his apple, and by finish his apple, I mean, look at how much fruit there is left on that! You clean that! You take it down to the seeds! Finished with his meal, Goku decides to toss away the apple core, which promptly hits a saber-toothed tiger in the head, who gets upset and tries to chase Goku. Cue the most Looney Tunes experience you'll see this side of American cartoons. Goku uses his tail to dodge saber-toothed tiger, he jumps out of the tree, he runs away from the tiger, and proceeds to bait it off a ledge, where it then falls, bugs its eyes out, and lands in the river below. It's amazing. However, Goku, who's hanging on a branch to get away from the saber-toothed tiger, probably falls into the river right after because, you know, branches break when they have weight put on them. But Goku doesn't see this as a bad thing. Instead, he uses it as an opportunity to get completely naked, pee in the river, and then use his tail as a makeshift fishing rod to go fishing for his meal. Man, he rebounded from that fast, didn't he? So while there are some small fry fish who are initially interested in his tail, along comes a big ol' whopper of a fish. Like, big fish freak me out. So if this was something I saw in real life, you know I'd be gone. Be out of here. Done. Nope. Nope. As the fish goes for Goku's tail, Goku pulls a pretty slick move, if I do say so. He pulls his tail out right before the fish is about to bite, promptly turns around, kicks the fish in the face, and kills it in one swift blow. I mean, if that's not hunting for you, then I really don't know what it is. Goku grabs the fish, starts to haul it home, and comments that he's sure it will get him to dinner. Man, I wish I had an appetite like this kid. On his way back though, Goku sees a car screaming down the roadway towards him. In this car is Bulma, who was briefly introduced earlier in the episode as she stopped out of her car, pulled out a mysterious blinking device, and expressed a pretty fair amount of excitement over what she saw. We'll leave exactly what that device is for the future. Spoiler alert, it's the Dragon Radar. But Bulma, after seeing Goku in the roadway, promptly panics. This causes Goku to panic, which in turn causes Bulma to try and slam on the brakes. Unfortunately, she doesn't hit them fast enough, and she instead hits Goku, who goes flying into a nearby tree. But because this is a tailed, incredibly strong boy wonder, he probably gets up, gets upset at the car, picks it up, and chucks it a good 20 or so meters, with Bulma still in it. If that's not a way to introduce that your character is strong, picking up a car and hefting it, some good ways away, I don't know what you're expecting. Of course, this leads Bulma to react in only the most reasonable way that a human being who had their car picked up and thrown with them still in it would react. By pulling out a gun and shooting at a little boy. I mean, where I come from, that's pretty common practice, but I don't think anywhere in the mountains that's kind of a cultural norm. This only caused Goku to get more angry, and he's ready to charge at Bulma again before she stops him and explains that, yeah, she too is a human being. She just so happens to be a female, which, again, coincidentally, Goku has never seen before. She uses this opportunity to explain that the contraption she was traveling in is a car, which, again, Goku's never seen before. He's only heard of these things courtesy of Grandpa Gohan, who instructed him that you should be as polite as you possibly can towards females. This promptly leads Goku to react in exactly the way you would expect from someone who just shot at you not even a few moments ago. To invite them home for dinner. Hey, yo, ma. Yeah, I need you to have another plate ready. We're gonna have a visitor. Oh, now, get the vodka ready, too. It's one of those visitors. So after a bit of filler time whereupon Goku and Bulma make fun of one another's names, because of course they do, they make their way back to Goku's hut, where he opens the doors and realizes that his grandfather's Dragon Ball is glowing again. Goku explains to Bulma that he thinks his ball is a Ouija board, and Grandpa is trying to communicate with him. But Bulma, completely ready to ruin all of his fun, pulls out her own pair of grandpas.
What? You got to be kidding! You've got 2 grandpas, no way!
Yes, that's exactly what Goku calls them. And Bulma explains to Goku that there's more than one Dragon Ball. And if you get all of the Dragon Balls together, they can do some great things. What are those great things, you ask? Well, you're going to find out after a bit of dramatic tension, because we shift completely to a whole new set of characters. At this point, without naming them, the episode introduces us to the Pilaf gang. Emperor Pilaf, Shu, and Mai, who are wandering through a dungeon on their way to find a Dragon Ball of their own, which they in short order do. Emperor Pilaf expresses his triumph with this Dragon Ball in hand, and proclaims that he is going to wish to rule the world. Until Mai ruins all of his fun and lets him know that there are 7 of them things, and he needs to find them all in order to wish for it. Bulma explains that gathering all 7 Dragon Balls allows one to summon the eternal dragon Shenron, who will grant any wish that the user desires. With a big ol' asterisk next to it, but you don't need to know that right now. Not really important. Bulma, who's also a young person with her priorities completely straight, reveals that her wish would be for the perfect boyfriend, and she tries to do whatever she can to get the 4-star Dragon Ball from Goku. With, of course, the most iconic of these being she's willing to let Goku get a little peek under the skirt in exchange for the Dragon Ball. Goku's response is, of course,
What do I care about seeing your dirty old fanny?
that's some good stuff. Goku's reasoning is actually completely valid for not wanting to give Bulma the Dragon Ball, as it's the only heirloom that Grandpa Gohan ever left to him. I mean, I would have some sentimental value for it as well, and Bulma realizes this, so she tries to get Goku to come along with her on the journey to find the Dragon Balls, to which Goku actually agrees. And the reason why he goes? Because Grandpa Gohan would apparently be proud if Goku went on an adventure. If it was that easy to get the approval of your elders, I would have started going to the store on my own a long time ago. Bulma explains to Goku that she can track where the Dragon Balls are using her Dragon Radar, which is basically a GPS for Dragon Balls. She also just so happens to have a capsule case that, just has disposable cars in it, so she's not really mad that Goku up and threw her car a good 20 meters. She just pops one out of a capsule and everything's hunky-dory. I wish that insurance claims worked like that. Bulma decides, hey, let's get a nifty fast motorcycle, and we're going to go ahead and fly off down this nice hilly road here where I only have so much traction because it's largely a dirt road. There's big hills that I'm going to fly off of. I've got a kid with me. It's not dangerous at all. Everything's going nice and smooth. Then Bulma almost wrecks everything, and she decides that's the perfect opportunity to stop and go to the bathroom. As I mentioned, she's a young woman who has her priorities completely straight. Before she's able to go, though, she gets captured by a very gruff-speaking and surprisingly buff pterodactyl, who also takes advantage of Goku's naivete and manages to tie him to a tree before flying away. Goku, of course, has a tail, so no matter what knot you tie him in with, he's going to be able to untie it with that tail. Because tails are apparently just as handy as 2 sets of hands at getting slip knots undone. After freeing himself, Goku claims that he wants to help Bulma but doesn't know how to fly. He then promptly gets on Bulma's motorcycle and uses it in the most Grand Theft Auto fashion you've ever seen to fly towards the pterodactyl. Because of course. Goku's almost able to reach the pterodactyl, but he starts losing altitude. He then jumps off the motorcycle to try and reach Bulma, but still can't quite make it. At this point, Goku decides he's going to take out his power pole, yell "Power pole extend," which I promise you is not a sex joke. And he uses the power pole, which extends to, I don't know, 100 feet, 200 feet, something like that. He uses it to whack the pterodactyl in the head and pull off the cleanest one-shot you've probably ever seen. Goku manages to fall through the air from an incredible height and land reasonably safely on the ground, while the pterodactyl falls into a valley and just flat thumps on the ground, Acme style. And Bulma manages to get hung up on the side of a cliff by Goku's power pole, which he threw at her in a spur-of-the-moment decision. This managed to land perfectly in Bulma's shirt, keep her in place, and cause her to have a little bit of sparkles falling down from her. Bet you can't guess what that is. Then, without even explaining how Bulma got down off the side of the cliff, the two of them get back onto Bulma's motorcycle, drive off into the distance, and cue the end of the episode. As far as the first episode goes in explaining exactly what's going on, this was fine for the most part. Like, we get a very clear idea of who Goku is and what his experience so far in this universe has been, which is to say, not a lot. The episode leans very heavily into his inexperience with other people and other environments. And it's clear that this is going to be a part of his interactions with Bulma, at least in the early part of the series. Some of Bulma's most notable personality quirks come into focus in this first episode as well, including her short temper and her access to notably magic kind of technology that enables her to do some very, very convenient things. Unfortunately, I kind of felt that Bulma was underrepresented in this episode. And I know it's the first episode, I know it's meant to focus on the main character, but you want there to be a reason for the character to go on their adventure. You want there to be that call to action. And I feel that the call for Goku to go with Bulma in this episode was honestly kind of weak. Like, I get it. Bulma playing to Goku's naivete and getting him to come along with by basically just pulling something out of her ass is pretty smart, honestly. It shows that Bulma is willing to be resourceful in order to get what she wants. But it still stands as a flimsy reason to just get up and leave the only place that Goku has known for God knows what. He doesn't know where they're going to go. He doesn't know what he's going to experience. It's literally something that has never been for him before. And his willingness to just get up, completely uproot everything he's been familiar with is... It just doesn't sit super well with me. But it shows the clear direction of where early Dragon Ball was going, which is a lot of comedy through visual gags. It's a lot cartoonier than a lot of newer fans would be acclimated with, particularly those who grew up on Dragon Ball Z. So it might come as a little bit of a culture shock for those going back and looking at the original Dragon Ball. But for the time, I can see how it'd be pretty effective. I actually got some giggles out of it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it wasn't full on belly laughing or anything. It's like, okay, that's not bad. Also, I know the first set of episodes in Dragon Ball is collectively called the Emperor Pilaf arc, but I didn't feel like the introduction of the Pilaf gang really did anything for this episode. I would have rather taken that time block and had a more cinematic, kind of thorough explanation of a little bit of history behind the Dragon Balls. Maybe give them a bit more mysticism and a bit more importance. Because you have the appearance of Shenron. You make it very apparent that yes, people want these Dragon Balls. But I don't think putting the Pilaf gang in really did as much as the writers were originally intending for it to do. This probably could have waited until next episode, and it could have been written a little bit better. So after watching and reviewing this episode, I'm giving Secret of the Dragon Balls a rating of 4 balls out of 7. Why is it 7? Because I can. And also mainly because there's 7 Dragon Balls and I want it to be thematic. It had a couple of good moments, and it really played up, the whole strong boy Goku kind of deal. But it's an exposition episode. There wasn't a whole ton of action to really do anything with. There was some story, which was nice, but this is in the process of building up the Dragon Ball universe. And I don't expect a lot of these early episodes to be huge action, mind-blowing, have big, intense, emotional moments. But they're going to be solid enough in doing some storytelling on their own that you can at least get some kind of substance out of them. So that's all I've got for now. Be sure to tune in next time as I review the next episode of Dragon Ball, The Emperor's Quest. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more of this content, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. It really would mean a lot. Also, if you're enjoying the content that I make here, I make content a lot of other places. I have several other YouTube channels, including one where I make music, one where I play video games, and one where I just document what I'm doing and how I come about this entire process of making and creating videos and going through life. So if you're interested in checking any of those out, links are in the description down below. You can also find a link to my Twitch channel where I stream, though I am currently taking a break, and my TikTok as well, where I make videos on a somewhat regular basis. I'm trying to get better about it. But if any of that interests you, you can find it all down below, and I would love to have your support. I'm kind of enjoying this. I will admit, it's a bit difficult to review the plot and process my thoughts around it, but I think over time it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to enjoy doing this. That's it for now, though. America's Team Badman signing out, and as always, stay bad.